kind of wish we would stop talking about AI as a product to be delivered. It impacts everything to do when it comes to delivering value.
I'm Ted Kofta, coming to you from the Workforce Newsroom. Today we're talking talent trends with global leader, HR technology and transformation practice at Mercer, Jess Von Bank. Jess, thanks for being here.
Hi, Ted. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. I'm excited to talk to you about the new report from Mercer. I know that you just released your Global Talent Trends report. What are some of the key findings that came out this year?
This is our biggest global research study we do every year. In the off years, we do this massive global survey, HR, business leaders, talent leaders, investors, advisors, everybody who has a voice around the world of work. And then in the every other year, we get a chance to pulse, ask a few additional questions we think we might not have gotten at in the previous year. We did that this year and asked a few more questions around the emergence of AI. Are we really transforming and redesigning work, or are we just reading the tea leaves the same way we did the year before? It was pretty fascinating. We still see four big pillars when it comes to what we're calling Workforce 2.0. It's still about designing for human-centric productivity. That conversation just looks a little different now that AI uptake is underway a little bit more than it was in the previous year. It's still around anchoring workforce experience to trust and equity. We still need to create more risk awareness and resilience in our operating environment. And the fourth one is always my favorite. It's designing digital-first workforces and experiences. But how we talk about digital has also changed from the previous year. How we create the intelligent enterprise. Like all of these conversations got more interesting in the last year.
I am intrigued that AI wasn't one of these top-line categories. I think the first one probably is very directly related to AI. But can you talk a little bit about how kind of the point of view around AI?
Yeah, so when I talk about AI every single day, and I usually say it's not the subject matter itself, it's actually infused in all of these conversations. You can't have any of these conversations without talking about AI because it's so infused and embedded as a way to deliver value. I kind of wish we would stop talking about AI as a product to be delivered. It impacts everything to do when it comes to delivering value. And you can have that conversation in any of those pillars. So designing human-centric productivity. How do you build trust and equity with AI? It's almost like just add with AI at the end of every sentence. I do think this is going to be a year of impact where we move beyond education and awareness. AI is probably the most interesting, disruptive, and emerging tech we've had in decades because the time to production is so tight. You can literally, unlike any other technology we've seen before, the time to production is really, really short. The time to ROI and to value that we can see and measure in the business is also pretty short, or it can be. That's the hump. That's the hump that we get to overcome in 2025.
That makes a lot of sense. One of the things that I think we talk a lot about in this space are skills, and this skills to jobs, and we're in a skills economy. What trends surfaced around skills this year?
Yeah, so skills is another thing we like to talk about as a strategy. Like, we need to do skills. Why? We need to become skills powered. Why? So asking the why to these questions is even more interesting to me. I'm seeing this, generally speaking, I'm seeing this great sort of like unbundling, destructuring of work. And so the skills piece is another part of that conversation, because when we unbundle and sort of restructure work, all of the ways work can get done, you cannot have that higher order work conversation without asking new questions about what humans can and should be doing. What are they skilled to do? What are the skill gaps we have in our workforce? How many jobs that exist today are going to be fully transformed by technology, including AI, but other things as well? And what does that leave? And how do we need to skill people to do that kind of work? That's another, those conversations in my mind should be happening in parallel. And that leads you to, how do we design talent as a flexible, dynamic supply chain? How do we design work in an automated, intelligent sort of way? And what's the data foundation we need to put under all of that to stay agile, to build sustainability into the business? It's honestly the most incredible time to do work transformation that I've ever seen.
Yeah, I can imagine the transformation practice is super interesting right now.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of the work here will be related to people leaders. I'm curious, did the survey share any insights around people leaders?
So we ask a lot of questions in these research reports, and one of them is the number one people priority of organizations. From 9th position to 1st position in one single year was improving people managers' skills. Last year, the number one priority was improving agility. This year, that's number 3. It's still like top 3 of on the people agenda. But this year, it's improving people managers' skills, which tells me there's so much acceleration and so much flux and so much change. We really need the frontline managers, let alone the frontline workforce. Like, we need the front line of people leadership to lead through change and transformation. We're asking people to change too much overnight. We're not communicating enough about what that looks like, let alone empowering and enabling them to work differently, to embrace tech, to educate themselves on AI. So managers have a big job ahead of them, and there's lots of ways we can support them. That's the good news.
Thank you, Jess. For more, head to adp.com/talent.